Good evening, everyone. I'm Doug Handy.
And I'm Abir Shinawi, and welcome to Real Talk, Our Space.
It is good to see you this evening, Abir. It's good to be here
Likewise.
in the studio with our folks. Very exciting time. 2020 is coming to a close. This is our final episode of December, and we know what that means. It's a hip hop episode, which
Yup,
is a
yup.
little extra excitement for me. And there's Muhammad saying good evening. So it's always good to know that we've got some folks along for the ride with us. So tonight's episode is going to continue with our theme for the month, which is near and dear to us, Abir and me, and that's community activism.
Mhm.
This particular episode we call Hip Hop is Life, Kids First, and The Healthy Soul. Did I get that right, Abir?
Yes, you did, actually, because we're talking about kids and we're talking about the healthy soul inside and out. And I love how one of our guests took hip hop and made it his own, and we'll share that soon as well, because I thought that was pretty cute.
Yes, yes.
So,
So this evening we got two segments.
yes.
Total of four guests. We're very excited. So we're not going to do a whole lot of talking because we want to get these fabulous guests on and hear from them. But Abir, talk a little bit more about your take on this evening's episode.
I think this evening, not only is it the last episode of the year, I can't believe now we're on episode 26. I
Yep.
mean, when I look back at when we started, I was like, I don't know how far this is going to go, and
Right.
I'm happy. I'm excited. I've been psyched about the show ever since Doug told me who he wanted to have on and who he reached out to, especially one of our guests who is a staple here in Baltimore, and I even had my own child reach out to me and say, "Oh, you got to get us in, on this restaurant." I'm like, "Okay, cool, just chill out." So I love the idea of mind, body, and soul, but I love when we have people who are on grassroots working for kids. And it's always something so important because, when you're in a time where you think, this world has just gone crazy, you meet these amazing people and you're like, wow, I mean, there are these angels out there who are doing this work. So I'm
Truly.
super excited to have all these people on the show.
Yes. So as we get ready to bring our guest on, I just want to remind everyone, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are at Real Talk Our Space is our YouTube channel. We're also on Twitter. Well, you can email us directly if you have ideas, comments, questions. realtalkourspace@gmail.com is our email address. We're also on Instagram. It's realtalk_ourspace.
Yep.
And we're also on Twitter as well.
Yes.
So and we're Real Talk Our SPA1, I
Our
believe.
spa.
Our spa, right.
Yeah,
So that's the mindset we put you in. Very
yes,
relaxing.
you're
All right. So please do join us for our episodes and check us out. Please, that we appreciate everyone who supports us. And look at there's Carlene. We've got
Carlene, Happy New Year to you
Happy
too.
New Year to you as well. What a
Hello,
pleasant surprise. So
So that would
it's
be
always
great.
good to see some familiar faces, names,
I
etc. All right.
believe Carlene is from Haiti.
Is that right?
I believe Carlene, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are from Haiti, you may appreciate our guests that we have on
That's
our
right.
show today. So without further ado,
Yes.
we'll introduce our first guest, who, I love 7 degrees of separation. We have these amazing Midwest people. Yup, yup. Being based in Chicago, having Midwest people on is always great. So we have Brother Richard Bell coming on. He's the founder of Kids First Initiative, which is a nonprofit organization that provides mentoring, meals, and STEM empowerment workshops to underserved youth in communities across the United States, Canada, Puerto Rico, and Haiti, which is, I think, amazing. He was honored with a proclamation for working with young people by the Oakland County Board of Commissioners and given an Image Award by the Northern Oakland County branch of the NAACP for his extensive work. And without further ado, we're going to bring Brother Richard Bell on to talk to us about his work. Hello, welcome, Richard.
Thank you guys for having me.
Welcome.
So, Richard, I did ask Carlene if she is from Haiti, and she is actually from Haiti. So maybe you can talk to us a little bit about that since she's from there. But we'll talk about that in a second. So we always like to get to know our guests from the inside out and a little bit of history. I'm a history teacher, so I love the history. So the first question we have for you is, can you tell us your migration story, your family's migration story?
Well, on my father's side, thank you. That's a wonderful question. On my father's side, he came from Forest City, Arkansas. I want to say in the early 70s. Interesting place. He left there. I think he told me he was making $1.17 a week chopping cotton. So when he got here, he got a job in the plants. Like a lot of people who came from the South at that time in the automotive industry. And he said he was never going back again. So I thought that was interesting. And on my mother's side, they came from North Carolina. So my mother died when I was in the second grade. So my father is my superhero, so to speak. I mean, talk about a tough guy. He worked 2 jobs. He retired from 2 jobs. So he got 2 pensions, and that's what's really gangster. We're talking about hip hop. Somebody who has 2 pensions, but he worked hard for that. He kept me and my other 2 brothers together. And I think all of our young people need a hero in their life. They need a superhero in their life, somebody who's just a superhero. So that's my migration story.
So I'm wondering, Richard, if since, both of your parents come technically from the South, if they came up during that wave of the Great Migration North, or some of that.
They did, and it's interesting that you said that, and some of their family members before them, and so many people came up here. And so being from the Midwest, from Michigan specifically, I thought everybody came just because of the plants, but I found out over in Chicago, they came to Chicago because Sears and Roebuck's. That's what brought them to Chicago, because it was Sears and Roebuck. So it was the plants here in Michigan, Sears and Roebuck's over there. So they were a part of that great migration.
Wow. Well, we honor them today, and may your mother rest in power.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing that, Richard. Yeah. So, before we go on, I do want to, I've got to show this. Louis Laster, that's the mutual friend that Richard and I have. Really, Louis is who connected Richard and me. So,
thank you, Louis.
Richard, you see Louis here giving you a shout out, my man, Richard Bell. So we're glad that that Louis made a connection, because I think very impressed with what Richard's been doing, and really looking forward to following what he's doing, supporting him, and anything I can do to help him along the way. So, Richard, a whole lot in the bio that you shared. We know you've had quite a few experiences. Could you talk a little bit about, I think it was a year that you spent in Germany. Is that correct? And I think you were...
roughly about 6 to 8 months in the eastern part of Germany. So going over to Germany as a history student, a history major, a young historian, it was like hitting in the house. It was like hitting the lottery for me, going over thinking about all the historical aspects I had heard about and learned about as a kid. Now I could actually go and visit some of those places like the Berlin Wall, the spot or the site where Martin Luther started the Protestant Reformation, concentration camps and castles everywhere. And so I had a Eurocentric mindset. So of course I was interested in that. But that same Eurocentric mindset also kept me from making the connection while I was in Germany between the African-American experience here in the United States and also the German experience, Black German or Euro-German experience there in Germany. And so my heroes at the time, because all I knew at that time was European heroes. And that's why I wanted to, that's why I sought out. But there were African-American heroes. They had equivalents to Martin Luther King. They had great poet rights and things like that. And so I missed that opportunity because I had a different type of mindset. I hadn't matured yet to that. Germany, you could take your car and drive as fast as it would take you on the Autobahn. That was pretty cool to me. You had to think about in school when they gave you the metric system. I wasn't paying attention as much, of course, because they don't have a same type of system. So when I got to McDonald's, I ordered a quarter pounder with cheese, and they wouldn't sell it to me because there's no such thing as the pound over there. It's a different type of metric system. So that was unique to me, and things along those lines. Their money was different. They were on the euro. And I saw the money. I thought it was monopoly money. I didn't want to get paid in euros. It was worth a lot more than American dollars were. So they were a little bit more advanced than us. I got a chance to look at America for the first time from the outside looking in. An Indian gentleman, wonderful gentleman. He said, you guys, America, you think everything revolves around you. And I thought it did at the time. And then so I got a chance to look at it from a different point of view. I met some Black people for the first time who were living in other countries, who were very happy to be living in other countries, doing well, and they weren't dying to get to the United States. And I met some Black people who were dying to get to the United States still. So I thought that was very interesting. So overall, I would say my experience in Germany was wonderful. It was interesting. Here's Germany, the birthplace of the Nazis. And so every day when I walked to work, I would pass this group of young men, and then somebody told me one time they were skinheads. So next day I started walking on the other side of the street. They never bothered me though. So I found out that it wasn't that they liked Black people or disliked Black people, because of their relationship in the Holocaust. If they ever did anything to anybody on an organized manner, the government cracked down on them so hard. So at times I felt safer in Jena, Germany, east part of Germany, town of about 100,000 people. I was one of only 4 African American or people of color there, Black people there, period, and no problems at all. So I thought that was kind of interesting. They looked at race in a different perspective than we did. It was more so about nationality at the time versus black and white. And if you remember, and I think you will, Mr. Sabir, by being a historian, that Eastern Germany had a very good relationship with Cuba at the time. And then so we had the blockade going on. They brought a lot of doctors over from Cuba that looked just like you and me with a lot of color, and they educated them. So it was more about nationality versus color, being black and white, things like that. Yeah. So I learned that when I was over in Germany. So my experience in Germany was wonderful. Germany opened my eyes. I'll never be the same again. And it opened my eyes to the need to travel. And so more of our young people need to get passports so we can travel. Just like we travel from state to state, they travel from country to country. And so I never forget, Jay-Z says, how many stamps you have in your passport. I only had three stamps in my passport at the time, and they were on their second book of passports. Right. I said, man, I got to travel more. But Europe is a little bit smaller, and so they travel more than we do. But you got to get your passport if you're a young person.
I love that you say that, because you remind me of like when James Baldwin left and went to France, and he couldn't discover the relationship he had with America until he was in France and looked at American racism in a different perspective, right? And then you look at yourself and how you react as an American now that you're in a different environment, and how important it is to be well-traveled so you learn more about other people. And, I grew up with a passport my entire life. Like we come out of the womb being, first generation, you travel back to the mother country and all of that. So when I meet people who don't have a passport, you look at them funny. But thank you for sharing that, because I think it's very important for kids to understand how important it is to have such a global perspective by traveling and learning. And again, becoming a little bit smarter of when to order a quarter pounder or call it something else when you're in another country. So thank you for sharing that. So we know that you are, you're nationwide, even across other countries. But what was your motivation for starting your nonprofit, which is called kidsfirstinitiative.org, correct?
That's correct, ma'am. Yes, it is. I want to, first of all, thank our wonderful team over at Kids First Initiative. I'm just the face, and I thank them for allowing me to come here today and support me so I can be here today. So many people behind the scenes so I can make the travels when I'm off of work and different things like that. One day I was over in Germany, and I saw a little kid. And so there in the West, there were a lot of soldiers in the West, a huge military presence from the United States. And so you had a lot of mixed marriages, mixed relationships. And so I saw a kid one day, and he was very fair in complexion. So I'm assuming he was the product of maybe a African-American father and normally a Caucasian mother, German mother. And so he looked at me, and we made eye connection. And then I could tell he was trying to reach out to me because, again, I was in Jena, Germany, the eastern part of Germany, not a lot of Black people. I was one of only 4 African-American males. And so I could tell he was trying to reach and make a connection to me, but I missed that opportunity. And then so unfortunately, I'll probably never be able to see that or connect with that young man again. But so our work will never be done. And so when I got back to the States, I got with a group of other teachers and coaches, and we started the Kids First Initiative because there was such a need. But I had made a connection with that young man at that time. Who knows what would happen? So I'm not saying I won't see him again because I'll never visit Germany again, but our work will never be done because we'll never be able to make that connection with the kids. So for me, that was some of the motivation. One of the things that motivated me to get started at the time, because that young man was reaching out to me at the time, and I didn't know how to, or I didn't take the time and opportunity to reach back out to him.
So can you talk to us a little bit about your nonprofit? What do you exactly do with your organization?
Kids First Initiative is a grassroots organization. We started out of the schools, and one of the things we do is provide resources for kids from underserved communities, so they'll have the opportunity to connect and tap into this American dream. When I say resources, we're talking about food, skills, and information. There's so many kids here in the United States, all around the world, even here in one of the greatest countries of all times in the history of man, that are going hungry. They wake up hungry, they go to school hungry. Now, when they go to school, they'll get a meal, they come home, and then they go to bed hungry again in the greatest country in the world. So one of those resources we try to provide is food. The second resource is skills, and then information. And so our young people need these digital skills today, especially if they're coming from parts of the country that have been underserved. And you could be underserved as maybe you might be based on your race, maybe based off your ethnicity, maybe based off if you're a male or female or different things like that. So they need those resources so they can access the American dream and American opportunity. Most of our financial resources now our educational resources, and also our career resources. They're going to be on this digital platform. And so they're left behind because they don't have the digital skills. They're going to be locked out even further. And the pandemic has showed us that. And then so the information is the last thing we provide for them. A lot of times our young people don't know, and you'll meet so many young people that you'll be surprised at how many of them don't know that these jobs and these opportunities are out here.
Right.
And so our saying is young people can't be what they can't see. So again, we try to provide young people with those valuable resources, especially young people from underserved communities. So when we're out on the road, we're going out, we're learning, we're giving, but we're learning at the same time. So a lot of the things we learn while we're out on the road, we bring back to Pontiac, Michigan, or to Michigan, and we try to use those best practices right here in Pontiac, Michigan to empower the people right here in Pontiac.
I love it. And this quote, I want this to be put out there in the universe. Young people can't be what they can't see. I
Right.
think
That representation is essential, right? It's powerful. Yeah. And Richard, apparently you've made an impact. Matter of fact, we've got some folks with us this evening who kind of attest to the impact that you've made. Here's one, I guess the Ascend. I don't know if that's the Ascend Foundation. The Ascend FDN says this organization is doing great work here in Pontiac. So certainly a testament to the work you're doing there. A couple other comments too, pretty exciting. You've got what's this street number series, Richard Bell's an asset to our community. And that's Anisha Cole, I believe, making that comment. So it's very exciting to have Richard here with us, to hear about the work he's doing and to see, others paying testament to the work that you're doing. So it's, doing that work in Pontiac, knowing that that's where you grew up and, went to high school. You didn't just stop there though. You extended that work beyond Pontiac, hearing about some of the other places that you've gotten involved and done, work for the betterment of the community. What did lead you to extend your work beyond Pontiac into these other communities?
We wanted to see what other organizations were doing out there, some of their best practices, some of the mistakes they had made, so we can learn from them and bring it back. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Vicksburg, Mississippi, Dr. McGee, I'll never forget, he said, Mr. Bell, maybe we don't want to call or say the families are in need. Maybe we can say something like they use some holiday joy. And that's a great thing. Nobody wants to think that they're in need. And so if we had never went to Vicksburg, Mississippi, we would still be saying people who are in need. Now, I'm not in need necessarily today, but I could use some holiday joy. And I'm sure all of us could use some holiday joy. And so best practices. We were in Chicago, and I never forget, this is the south side of Chicago, where you hear about all of the problems that in the summertime. And then so never had any problems at all in the south side. And one of the administrators over there told me, said, Mr. Bell, African-American students get kicked out, other students get redirected. And I said, wow, here's a Caucasian administrator lightening me to this. And so those are some of the things we thought about as we go back to Pontiac. So maybe we don't have to kick the students out as much. Maybe we can redirect them and things like that. Columbus, Ohio. I'll never forget. I came in, they were the cafeteria. It was lunchtime. And I remember from the days when I used to be a guest teacher, 14 years teaching and coaching, cafeteria was always so chaotic all of the time. You had administrators, they had to allocate an administrator to be in the cafeteria because so many problems were going on in the cafeteria. They were so active. And so what they did is, it's called a cafetorium. They multi-purpose, they used the same room for the same thing. I walked in, they were having lunch, but they were showing a movie at the same time. And I thought it was unbelievable how quiet it was. And then so I asked the administrator, she says, cut down on referrals, it's cut down on discipline problems because the kids are doing something they want to do. And those are some of the things we brought back from the road. If we had never been out on the road, that we can bring back and share. And we share every time we go somewhere to different places, some of the best practices that are working in other places that might work here, might not necessarily work here. Port-au-Prince, Haiti, 5,000 students in the school. I didn't speak much French, but I will say bonjour to everybody out there that's listening. But the people spoke better English than I did French. And then so the headmaster is what they call them over there. And he kept trying to get me to explain to him how this project was going to work. And we were doing a simple engineering design process, building a structure. And I couldn't explain to him. And I said, the kids are just going to do it. They're going to do it. And the kids picked up the project and they started working. And then this is the first time you always hear about math being universal and things like that. You can see it firsthand. The kids start picking up these pieces. They start building these three-dimensional structures. It was unbelievable. I didn't speak, again, much French. They didn't speak much English, but we were able to communicate through STEM. When I was in Puerto Rico and the kids, I asked the one young lady, I'll never forget. I said, you speak English? She said, of course I do. I learned to watch Netflix. I thought that was kind of fun. Of course, Puerto Rico, and then so it's part of the United States. And so a lot of people speak there. But through those travels, even right here in Hamtramck, Michigan, if you remember the history, some of you guys might, Hamtramck used to be an all Polish community. And so now, since we got there, it's mostly an Arabic community. And so when we're out on the road doing our holiday meals, instead of us telling people what their Christmas should be, we try to learn from them. So whatever their Christmas are used to custom wise, we'll try to bring that to them. And
Wow.
then in that community, they wanted to have their meat prepared in a certain way. And I believe it's pronounced halal, halal.
Yes.
Allow me. And I thought that was great that we were able to take the time. Our team, somebody on our team took the time to find out, instead of us telling the people what they should have, finding out what they really wanted for the holidays and being able to provide that for them. And again, we were able to communicate to them and through them and with them through using the activities of STEM and STEAM.
Wow.
Very
Okay,
neat.
so I'm taking all this in.
That's
First of all,
what we do. Right.
it's phenomenal, but I want to talk really quick about what you said about the last part, not because I'm Arab, but about the halal thing. It's important how when you have an organization to ask what the people want and how they want it, as opposed to making an expectation, right? So I was listening to a podcast about how some big NGO wanted to go somewhere in India and help these rural women cook, and they provided them with all these resources. And then at the end, the women just hated it because what ended up happening was when women cooked outside together, it was a communal thing, right?
Mm.
But the people coming in from the outside thinking, oh, we're going to help save these people, they didn't listen to them, right? So it failed. And what you're doing is an amazing job. And speaking of listening to, learning English off of Netflix, this is my mom. I have to give a shout out to my mom. She learned English watching soap operas, right? So it's So thank you for sharing all that. Wow. I mean, I think that's just amazing, Richard. Everything.
It's truly powerful. And the comments, we'll get to some of these comments, but there's Richard, again, you have a lot of folks who are paying testament to the work that you've done, the impact on the communities. We do have a couple photos, I believe, of some of
Yes.
the
Mr. Douglas.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. All those people you say out there are paying homage to us, I want to make sure they like the page. Make sure they do that. If you haven't, they really like what I'm doing, like the page, please. Okay, go ahead.
God, you heard that straight from Mr. Richard Bell yourself.
That's
so please do as he said.
Here's our YouTube, but also if
go.
you are interested in learning more about Richard's organization, kidsfirstinitiative.org. It's that simple. So thank you for that shout out, Richard. So we're going to start with a picture right here, which I believe this is in Haiti, correct?
It's in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. It is, and I'm very excited. The young men were so wonderful, and they paid so much for attention. It's 275 students in one classroom. A very busy classroom, as you can see right there. They're building. We shared with them the engineer design process, and I don't want to say taught because they probably already knew it already before. Our young people know so many things that we just don't give them credit for that. And they start building these three-dimensional structures.
Mm-hmm. And I think Haiti is considered, is it Haiti, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere?
It's one of the poorest, if not the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And it's very unfortunate because it's less than 190 miles off from Florida. And so we could do so much more there to support Haiti. And I'm happy to say, because of the support we had, we were able to send over some lanterns over there. So it's lights for literacy, what we're working on. When the sun goes down, because only 12% of the country has power, all the activity stops. You can't do any work, you can't do any reading or anything like that. So when I sent it over to the teacher, she said, yes, the teachers are charging their phones up on the lanterns, and they're using it in some of the dark classrooms over there, because only 12% of the country actually has power. But the kids were immaculately dressed. You wouldn't tell they were come from such a poor country. And I was trying to figure out why. And the headmaster explained to me they invest so much into these students because those students, that one student can lift that whole family out of poverty.
Wow. Oh my God, that's so deep.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So
very powerful.
Here's another picture. I love when the kids are look at the kid all the way to the right with his mouth open. Like, he's so excited. Look at that. Look at that. Can you talk to us about this picture, Richard?
Yes. This is in Haiti. I'm sorry. This is in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
A few months after they had the storm there, and I remember I was already in the airport, and I hadn't heard back from the school, so I had already told everybody we had made plans. I was on my way to Puerto Rico. We haven't heard back, and the principal, the head principal over there, called me right before I got on the plane, and she worked everything out. And so we call this the STEM effect. And so look at that young man right there, how excited he is. You would have thought he saw a superhero or he saw a rap star or somebody like that walk in,
right.
And all they're doing is something as simple as the engineer design process. And that's one of the reasons why we use STEM and STEAM activities specifically to work and engage young people to get them to go where we think they should be at. So again, we're looking forward to going back to sometimes here soon to Puerto Rico, because the kids were so wonderful, and we learned so much from the kids also there.
Okay, we have two more pictures really quick. I'll bring both of them up. Here's this one. I believe that's you in the picture.
That's me in the picture. And then so again, as you can see, look how excited the kids
Yeah.
are about. I think you can remember from school we did 3 states of matter, but we call phase transition of matter. We changed the name of it, get a little bit more excited, and they're very excited. So our young people can do these activities. We just have to show them how exciting STEM and STEAM careers can be. And then we see a mother off to the side. We always get the parents to take part in this. So it's a whole community going on. And so hopefully, maybe one of these young persons one day might grow up to be a chemical engineer like Douglas.
Ooh, that would be great. I mean, I never liked that, but the way the looks on these kids' faces, like to the girl with the striped shirt, she looks so like, yes, I did this. I'm so accomplished. I think it's great.
Well, one of the things we do is it's a concept, and it's called the activity before concept. In education, we used to always come in and talk about E equals MC squared, and you
Right.
would lose the kids. I had all these discipline problems when I was in the classroom because it wasn't applicable to them. They don't know what that means.
Yes.
But when you give them the activity first, now they have a reason to learn how to read. They have a reason to learn the math. Because they can apply that to their everyday life. They can go home and get some dish detergent and buy some dry ice, and they can do the same experiment at home. And so it's applicable to them. So everywhere we've been, we never have any problems. All the discipline problems go away when you start introducing the activity before the concept. And that's a new thing that we're pushing out, the activity before concept.
Love it. And the final picture.
I like this picture right here, not just because that's me, and but it's a picture of me engaging young people, and specifically young African American ladies. We need more young African American ladies, more young people in general to get involved in science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. It's some of the highest paying jobs. It's some of the jobs that will be around for the 21st century. Those skills, you'll never be out of work. And then so these young people are going to be the ones who are going to drive innovation that's going to change the world. And then so right here, the police department can play a major role in helping to bridge that gap. And so I was very excited. This is National Night Out in Detroit, Michigan, and I'm very excited, proud to be a member of the Detroit Police Reserve. I have been for 14 years. We get the opportunity sometimes to go out into the community and interact with the kids in a positive way.
Love it. I love it.
Tremendous. And like I said, just the way those photos capture the excitement, the looks on their faces, Richard, the even the colors, like you said, the excitement of what science can bring. Just I'm full with that.
Doug, you know what a guy told me one time? We were talking about thinking outside of the box. And then he said, Mr. Bell, he said, what if it's not even a box? I had to pause for a second. I said, what do you mean? And then so that's really thinking outside of the box. He said it could be a square, it could be a line. So when we're out there working with the young people, teaching, we're actually learning ourselves. All this is coming from the young people. All these ideas and concepts are coming from the young people, and they're going to be the ones that's going to make the change. It's going to change the world. We have to reinvest back into our young people.
Yes,
that's right. That's right. You heard it here. Agreed. It's unanimous.
So we still have, I mean, our comment section is really blowing up. Corey Cafe, that's my husband. He says, great topic. He loves to hear this. Mr. Bell is truly a person, believes in what he's doing for the community. And that's what's up. People know when you're legit, as opposed to you're just doing it for whichever way. I mean, I'm just going to go down really quick just so people know that they know that we're giving them an opportunity to give you thanks. Good to hear from you. Great work. Great team. What an impact you're doing. All of these. I love this one. Doing good over here, brother. I heard that you were moving mountains down south, way to represent the home team and the family. Everybody just.
And some of that's that network that that Richard spoke about. You can see the folks, I guess, he's networked with.
Relationships. Everything is about relationships. Douglas, you can write us a check tonight for $1 million and I'll be able to use it. But when that $1 million is gone, what do we have? Nothing. But if I have a relationship with you, no matter where you go and when you advance and you go into bigger and better things, if we have a relationship with you, then we'll still be able to empower the young people. So when we go out of town in these different places, it doesn't matter if it's, we'll be back in Jacksonville, Florida. We've been so many different places empowering young people. We learn from the young people. Some of the needs are the same. Some of the needs are different. And then so we had to service the people, provide a service for the people in a different way. But the most important thing is connecting with somebody there locally. We always try to connect with a school or a church because that's where the need is at. Those are our clients. They can help us out. And so it's, again, instead of us coming in, bringing 1,000 computers, maybe they need 1,000 pair of socks. Things along those lines. Most times people have good intentions though, but it gets caught up, and sometimes you can get caught up in yourself, but you want to connect with a person there on the ground, maybe a church, maybe a local organization, to find out maybe they've already done what you're trying to do, but you can do something else somewhere else and things like that. So relationships are huge.
Definitely. And those community hubs, I love it. Like you say, community centers, churches, places of worship, go where the people are.
Yep.
Outstanding.
Yes. So we love everything that you're doing. Again, for anybody who would like to help donate or send some love, it's kidsfirstinitiative.org. So we always like to end off our show, Richard. I mean, all good things must come to an end sometimes, but we will always a work in progress. So we have two questions. One of them is my baby, and one is my baby. So we're going to ask my question first. So, which artist would you have perform an album about your life and why? And what would the album title be?
I'm gonna try to be really quick here. I normally talk fast, and so a couple of different albums. It would be the Manhattans, definitely for sure. And that's I say Manhattans because I have a wonderful partner, a wonderful girlfriend, and she supports me 120%. So the Manhattans, I would say the second song would be EU. And if we're gonna work on this segment, told me about a song to work on. They did a song called "Doing the BUT." I won't say.
I was gonna say, is that EU? The EU?
Yeah, no, so it was EU.
Wow.
EU who did it.
Yeah.
Right. And so they did that song. And so we want to do a song called "Doing the STEM." Yes.
Got it.
But for all our real hip hop fans, our gangster kids out there, Yellow Beezy would be the artist.
Okay.
And that song would be "That's on Me, Baby." Remix number 5. Yes.
Remix.
Yeah.
I love it. And the Manhattans, I haven't heard of them, and like since what, the late 80s or early 90s when they were out, right?
EU, yes, it's been a while.
That's right.
He took it back with that one. So we got time for the quick challenge here, Abir.
Yes,
Richard, he's very efficient. All right, Richard, we're going to hit you with one. We do have a challenge we like to issue to our guests. We call it the 4x4 challenge. So pretty direct. The 4 alludes to the 4 pillars of hip hop. And we try to honor hip hop in the space because I know that big part of my growing up. So if you look at hip hop being graffiti art, DJing, the B-boy, B-girl, the breaker, and then of course the MC, which most people are familiar with, we just ask you and we ask our other guests, could you identify one artist from each of those 4 pillars that really resonates with you? So that's our challenge to you.
Yes, and then so when you say DJ, I'm going to say the Run DMC DJ. He passed away, Jam Master Jay.
Yep.
When you say MC, I want to say the guy who moves the crowd. I want to say Biggie Smalls. I want to say Jay-Z. Those are MCs. Some people argue that. Somebody said graffiti, and when you think of graffiti, it was I need to see that list again.
Sure.
My memory is bad.
Okay. We're all visual learners. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so when we say hip hop and b-boys, I'm thinking about break dancing. So of course Curtis Blow. And then I don't think I missed any. Graffiti art. That's a little bit of a challenge for me. I'm gonna say PM Dawn.
Okay.
That was way back with PM Dawn. Yes, PM Dawn. Sad Do They Go Away. Yes, I did different type of artists there.
Okay. I gotta look them up. They did some graffiti art with it. Definitely remember PM Dawn though. Yeah, Richard's taking us back and forth and all sorts of stuff.
Artists, though.
I gotta look that up though. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Maybe learn something new every day, right?
That's right. He fitly handled the challenge though.
I did.
Doug, can I give a shout out to somebody?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
It's a young lady, Tracy, from the DC area, one of the schools we participated in last year. We didn't get a chance to go back this year because of the pandemic. Tracy is a rock star. Let me tell you, listen, she was so excited to get a necktie. I said, Tracy, this is for young man, but she learned how to tie the tie up. She wore. So I don't know where Tracy's at today, and I don't know what grade she's in, but I'm glad that we had the wonderful opportunity to connect with Tracy there in the DC area. Wonderful rock star person. Big shout out to our team and everybody out there. Thank you guys for having this event. I had a wonderful time.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Richard,
that holiday joy you talked about, you definitely spread
that.
it over here. So we appreciate you for that and all the work that you're doing. Thank you very much.
Kidsfirstinitiative.org, and we will definitely be in touch, Richard. Thank you so much for being on our show. And from Midwest Love to Midwest Love, although you're from the Detroit area, it's all right. Chicago, to get some love. We're good. Have a good night. Thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Richard. Have a good night. We appreciate you.
All right.
Man, I love it when we have people. It gives you life.
Right. It's like energized. It's kind of like our secret, right? Abir, like we bring these wonderful people on the show that like basically energize us.
Yes.
And we definitely appreciate sharing with all of our friends, followers. But the fact they bring so much energy to us. And we really appreciate all these wonderful people that are on this planet, right? So with no further ado, let's get on some more wonderful people, shall we?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As I say, let's look at our comments really quick.
Okay, a couple of comments.
Great interview from Anisha, I believe, Hannah, and Dynamic job. I think he was wonderful, and he got a lot of love in the comments. So I'm happy for that because it's well deserved. Well
Yeah,
deserved.
Richard brought him out. Yeah.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Lewis, for hooking us up.
Yeah, make that connection. We appreciate him. All right, so let's roll into our next guest.
Broccoli Man.
Yes. So I'm proud to introduce, with my honor, I introduce Keith Tucker. He's the founder and executive director of Hip Hop is Green, the first plant-based hip hop organization in history.
That's amazing.
He authored and established the 10th element of hip hop, which is health and wellness. And we talked about those pillars. So we might ask Keith to talk. There's elements, there's pillars, but for those that are really into the hip hop, Keith has authored that 10th element, health and wellness. And Keith believes that if hip hop moves in a green direction, the world will move in a green direction. So we are very proud, and we've got the broccoli in there. For those that know, those are the handles of a large boombox. So hopefully those that know, they know, right? So we are glad to welcome Keith to be with us here this evening, and we have some more guests as well.
We sure do. And I love this picture, and I know we have to give the credit, and I believe the brother's name is Simon, but I'll have Nija and Greg give the shout out to the photographer. But first of all, we have Gregory Brown. So after growing up eating a typical American diet, he began a journey of spiritual expression, which eventually led him to become a vegan and to open the revolutionary vegan soul food restaurant, the Land of Kush. Greg has been a speaker, teacher, mentor, and leader to many performing outreach in the African American community and fighting for better ways of living by teaching the plant-based lifestyle. He's joined by the amazing Nija Wright Brown, who is a successful serial entrepreneur. I love that word, serial entrepreneur. And the marketing director for the popular award-winning Land of Kush, vegan soul bistro located in here, Baltimore, Maryland. She is the co-creator of the Baltimore Vegan Soul Fest, which is amazing, and Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week. I didn't even know they had a vegan restaurant week, which I thought was cool. I know there's restaurant week, but not vegan. And she's the executive director of the Black Vegetarian Society of Maryland. So without further ado, we will bring up all three of our guests. So we have Keith.
It's Keith.
We have Nija and Greg. Hello, everyone.
Welcome. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you for being on our show.
Good evening. What's up? How are you doing?
So before I begin with the questions, Greg and Nija, my daughter, there you go. I love the shirt. Love the shirt.
Brilliant. He's ready. Greg is ready.
So how can people get those shirts? Do they just go to your website and then they can order them, or how does that work?
Yeah,
okay.
Shirts, hoodies. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll be throwing up your links in a second, but I have to tell Greg and Nija, sorry, my oldest daughter and her husband were talking about the hookup to Land of Kush, so I'm just putting it out there in the universe. How it's going to work, I don't know. So Toko, if you're watching, there they are. They're on the show. When I told them you were going to be on the show, like, what? So got some fans out there. Got some fans. So again, thank you for being on our show. So the question is for you three. Tell us your migration stories. Where you come from, where you at. Anybody can start.
I'll let Nija and Greg go first.
Okay.
Well, I'm originally from New York, a New Yorker from the South Bronx. Spent a couple of decades out there, so the birth of hip hop out in the Mecca, and migrated to Maryland in 2005 through company relocation. Never thought I'd live in Maryland and meeting this fabulous husband right here, but I'm here, so. That's the migration.
Love it. How about you, Greg?
I don't really have necessarily a migration story. I was born and raised in Baltimore. So my migration may be East Baltimore to West Baltimore, back to downtown Baltimore. So that's about it. But my family comes from all over Virginia, North Carolina, Annapolis, that type of thing. So I'm a local kid.
You're born and raised in Maryland.
Yeah,
Maryland. How about you, Keith?
Whoa, my migration story goes all the way back to the founding of America, 1624. My great-great-grandfather, William Tucker, was the first African born in the United States.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. See, this is why we asked this question.
That's why we asked the question.
I'm
Right. How will we know?
Now. Okay, keep going. This is amazing.
They lived in Jamestown, Virginia, and then they went through the Trail of Tears also too. So we have native native blood in us as well too. Migrated to Chicago and the Milwaukee area, so I have a whole bunch of family in Chicago and Milwaukee and all around America. I have family, and then my grandfather took a job here in Seattle at Boeing in the 1940s, and so that's how our family got out here in the to the West Coast. So very long story, concise.
Right. Give us a clip notes.
Yeah, clip
Very
notes.
short words for wow, and that's why we asked the story. I mean, you learned so
Powerful.
much about people. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, everybody. We love hearing where everybody's from. You did get love, Naja? South Bronx? South Bronx?
Yeah. Stomping grounds.
All righty.
Excellent. All right. So let's keep it hip hop. We're in that mode. And Keith, we know that hip hop is green. We're going to get a little more about that. Talk about the connection between what you're doing and what Naja and Greg are doing. But Keith, let's talk about you talked in your bio about battling back against stereotypes. And I know, like I said, hip hop is near and dear to me. I know what hip hop has meant to me, and it's so much positive. But there's some stereotypes, some harsh stereotypes, I'm sure, that you fought back against as well. So talk about what's the harshest stereotype regarding hip hop that you felt like you had to protest against?
Yeah, there's a few, but I'll just talk about the gangster rap stereotype, right? And that every person in hip hop is a gang member, right? So I don't know if too many people out there remember, but back in the 90s when gangster rap was serious, C. Dolores Tucker was battling against that. That happens to be my auntie, actually. My cousin was married to C. Dolores Tucker. So I was really on the front lines because she would call me and talk about Tupac and all of that stuff with the Death Row Records and stuff. And I would be like her consultant, and I would be telling her, hey, this is that, all these things, right? So I was in the middle of that. That was really interesting because that was on a national level, and I was kind of behind the scenes, kind of trying to give my aunt my perspective from what a young person thought about gangster rap and how it influenced me. Another thing, though, people know E40 from the Bay, right? And so, there was actually a company here that wanted to not let him come to the Northwest because he was a member of a gang. And we don't know how that story got, because E40 ain't never been a member of a gang or anything like that. So we actually got out on the corner with signs and everything. I mean, this was back in the day, and really actually protest back and forth and all of that stuff with signs. And we won because they let 40 come and do his thing. So So those are kind of some of the hardest stereotypes. And, there's also stereotypes with hip hop is green, like what does hip hop have to do with health? That's a stereotype as well too. So that those are some things that I've been working on throughout my life. Yep.
And I love how you put the spin on hip hop. Hip hop, hip is health inside people, and hop is health outside people. So I think that's a great way of doing it. Yeah. Mindsets are hard to change, especially when people already have that perception, and everybody's a monolith for that particular group of people. So it's definitely sometimes.
Abir, when I started doing it too, back in 2009, there wasn't too many people, Greg and Naja were probably doing it, promoting veganism, there in Baltimore, but there wasn't too many people doing it in the nation. Right. And so people would see me and I would talk about veganism and the connection between hip hop, they would really look at me like I was crazy. Like, what does that have to do with hip hop?
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Back and and also too, people think hip hop is just music, but hip hop is a culture, just like you guys showed the different pillars in hip hop and the elements that we have, and it's just a worldwide situation that we have here. Right. People don't understand that yet. It's getting out, but people really associate it with what's played on, the music that's played on the radio.
Yep. Absolutely.
But it's way more than that.
Absolutely.
Which leads us to our next question, which is great for everyone, is how difficult was it to change the mindsets about food within families and communities? Because it's enough, you're battling the outside, right? Now you're bringing out the inside because, as Greg pointed in his bio, he grew up on typical American diet, fried food, all of that. So how is it difficult to change that mindset.
I think Greg and Naja could answer that, and then I'll come up back after that because I know they have some good stories.
I'll let Greg start.
I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult in the sense that if you try to change the mind state, if you try to change somebody's mind state from what they're used to and try to go and say, go vegan or completely change your life in one day. Yes, it's very difficult. But if you ask people if you simplify it and ask people to make small steps, like when we're approaching people about veganism, it's easy to approach people about fruit. It's easy to approach youth about fruit because that's something, we make it so complex with the whole vegan thing. But it's like, okay, do you like apples, oranges? Do you like watermelon? Do you like greens? You know what I'm saying? We try to simplify that thing. So in that sense, it's a little bit easier to say, well, add some fruit to your diet. You know what I'm saying? What's your favorite fruit? Oh, I love bananas. I love peaches. Okay, great. Make sure that you're getting that in. And I think that's the approach that we try to take is not make it super complex and, and bang on people and say, you got to do it the way we are telling you to do it. No, what makes it simple and what makes it work for you. Right. And then, we also try to understand the cultural background as well. What culture are you from? Are you from the West Indies? Are you from India? Are you from where are you from? Who do you associate with? And then we can go in and say, look at that. Let's talk about it from that perspective because there are different foods that people eat based on their culture.
And then understanding that food is social. So you're telling someone, okay, hey, you need to go vegan because of all of these benefits and this is who it's going to help. But a lot of people are like, what's in it for me? And now I'm going to lose all my friends. Everybody's going over here. And where am I going to go? So now you got to find this whole community. And some people aren't ready for that right now. So how do you transition and still include your friends, to the point of why we came up with vegan so fast, to show people that you can bring the family and friends out and we can have a good time. Why do we have Maryland Vegan Restaurant where you can take your family and friends out and they're going to have something to eat on the menu that they can try that they're familiar with, and it's not just a salad, because that's what everybody thinks. Vegan is just a salad, and it's not just a salad.
Right. Yeah.
And then you got to have the information. So what we did was Tracy McQuarter came out with an African-American vegan starter guide for us, by us. We distributed over 10,000 of those. The information. Why are we telling you to do this? Take the information. And then if you have questions, come see us.
Love it. Yeah. My nephew just recently became vegan, and coming from an Arab culture where there's a lot of meat and a lot of dairy and all, it was a big mind shift. He stick to it. I'm proud of him, but it, like you said, it's kind of that slow incorporation of why it's why it's important, why he does it. So that's good. How about you, Keith?
I think it's very simple. I just put the food in people's mouth.
That's straightforward. Yeah.
It's kind of on the lines of harassment, but okay. Well,
I let the food convince the people, right? And if they like it, then that opens it up because it convinced me. Before I was vegan, I thought, just like Naja said, it was some nut, some salad, and some tofu.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm not eating that nasty bland food. But then when I tried it for the first time and I tried something that I really liked, that blew my mind. I call it the epiphany moment, where people are like, oh, wow, I didn't know this was like that, right? And so that's what we try to create every time we do something, is that epiphany moment for people when they realize that vegan food and plant-based food is really good, actually. Yeah.
Good and good.
And you got to let them know why it's good for them. We have health disparities in the community, and I'm sorry, our community is always reactive to stuff when there's something wrong with you. You have cancer, diabetes, and all of these other ailments that could have been avoided if you would just eat right. So sometimes that's the approach.
Yep.
I have a question that kind of came up from this. So from your own research that you've done talking about vegan in a diet, have you realized that ancestrally this is also part of what would have been part of some maybe African cultures or people that have come and originally ate this way, as opposed to this being just something that were incorporated in societies or in communities because they had to? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, yeah, that makes sense. I think in general, we speak to that is that this is, it's really a typical diet. If it's if African cultures, Indian cultures, Caribbean cultures,
Right.
they do a lot, and in a lot of different foods. And even in the restaurant, I try to incorporate some of those concepts and ideas from those cultures, because in Baltimore, you may not. I'm not. It's not that those communities don't exist. It's just that Baltimore is 80% Black. So, and I'll say 80% African American. Let's put it that way. Not even just Black, but 80% African American. So, all those people grew up a certain way. So I try to introduce people to different things because I hang around people. I've hung around people from the Caribbean and different parts of the Caribbean. So I try to introduce those things, and I think we all try to educate people based on that. Is that, this is just a very natural diet. So I think, when we have drinks like sorrel, which is a hibiscus drink, I might do stuff with breadfruit. I might do, black eyed peas is really a traditional African dish, black eyed pea fritters. So we try to do those and incorporate those. So when, like, what'll happen is like I did a black eyed pea dish called akara, and some Africans, like we'll get African people in every once in a while, Ghanaians or Nigerians, and they're like, "Oh, you got akara? Like, how you even know about that?" But but all of that allows me to build a relationship with them, and that's the whole point. Is if you build relationship with people, then, and I try to build it through the food. So if, like, say, Bill, you're from an Arab background, so I would, I would have a conversation like, I know it's not all meats and dairy. It might be heavy in it, but I know it's some millet or some couscous that's something that may be familiar to your culture. And then I try to pick up on the traditional dishes there, and then maybe I try to recreate them from my perspective. So yeah, so I constantly say it again.
Challenge accepted.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, feel free to forward me anything because, like, I can always remove the meat because I think Arab cultures are heavy on chickpea, like chickpea.
Like me being Palestinian, like I follow this famous chef in England, and she had an entire segment of how our food can be very vegan, and we have a lot of great dishes, like you said, but we're so stuck on that meat, right? We're so stuck on that chicken or that dairy. So yeah, absolutely, chickpeas and lentils.
I'm thinking about falafel. The whole time. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
we've had many falafel discussions.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely look culturally, and that allows me to build relationships with people, and that's what I like to do because I want to know about different cultures.
Love it. Thank you.
So I'm gonna tell you, I'm kind of fanboying a little bit right now because I've been a fan of Land of Kush, been there several times. I'm a rewards club member, so I come down and get my rewards. Best brunch in the city. They hook it up. I mean, they give you more food than you could ever need. The food is delicious. So this is like a dream for me. I'm loving it. So, and I did my research. I found out about. I've been to Vegan Soul Fest over at BCCC. I think I've only been 1 year. Baltimore City Community College. And when I was doing the research, I saw the hip hop. Hip hop is green dinner, and hip hop green dinner. And I was like, how did I miss this? So I guess you had one in 2019. Of course, we're in the midst of this pandemic, but this is kind of what brings, I guess, my understanding, Naja and Greg and Keith together. So could you all just talk to us about that concept of going from concept to event? This hip hop is green, the hip hop green dinner. Yeah. Actually, I'm so excited, and I'm on my ticket now for the next one. Advanced ticket sales, hook it up.
Yeah. Keith didn't have Baltimore on the list, and I had to choke him up.
Yeah.
I was hunting down an artist for Vegan Soul Fest one year, and this artist, Etef, DJ Kavum, introduced me to Keith and told me what Keith was doing. And I'm looking at, all of these cities, and of course, New York and DC. And I'm like looking at it again. I'm like, okay, I might be missing something. Where's Baltimore? Where is Baltimore? And that's how Keith and I develop a relationship. And Keith, I'm gonna hand you the mic.
Yeah. We when we met, we were actually on tour. I think that year, weren't we?
Yeah, you did finish the White House. You did an event at the White House.
Nice. The White House event, And then we're thinking about going on tour that next year, and that's how we connected in Baltimore. But going back on how the hip hop green dinner started is back in 2008. I was on the radio. I had a radio show called the Keith Show here in Seattle. And I had been a friend of KRS-One. If people don't know who KRS-One is, you can check out The Teacher, find out about him. And so I did a show called Hip Hop Beyond Rap. I did a show on hip hop activism and Black mentorship. It was like a podcast on radio before podcasts got real big, right? I used to spend like 8 weeks on a subject, bring in guests every week. Anyway, I wanted to connect hip hop and people in hip hop that were vegans, because I know Chuck D and Flavor Flav, and I know a lot of those people in Public Enemy were vegans. I know Dead Prez, they were vegans, and KRS-One wrote the first song about veganism and animal rights called Beef in 1990. So I was talking with KRS-One about that, and I was like, man, I'm starting to feel something here, man. Maybe I'll do a show about hip hop artists that are vegan. And so that started the whole ball of wax rolling. And the next thing I know, I'm serving about 150 kids their first vegan meal. Wow. First time. And I'm bringing in hip hop artists and all that stuff. That happened back in 2009. So I just kept on building from there. Because I kept on meeting people all around the country that were like, yeah, I'm vegan. Yeah, I'm a farmer, but I'm a gangster rapper. It's like, okay, that's cool, man. Let's roll with it. And so I just kept doing it through my contacts. I've been involved in hip hop for so many years. I got people I know all around, right? And that's how it kind of organically grew. And then when I saw the vision, I was like, I want to build the biggest team ever assembled in hip hop of plant-based hip hop artists. I just want to build a team, and we'll go around in each city doing these hip hop green dinners, serving these meals, performing, giving the knowledge and the education to them at the same time. And it's a perfect mix of all of that stuff to inspire people to have that epiphany moment that I told you about. And you said one of the things, one of the most things that I'm proud of is when people that came to a hip hop is green dinner, and their mom brought them or something, and they tell me, hey, Keith, I brought my granddaughter to your event, and she's still vegan to this day. That's where I really get my, excitement about changing people's lives, one community after another.
Wow, that's great. So if anybody, wants more information, here's hiphopisgreen.com. We also have landofkush.com, and I believe that's where you can get those amazing shirts. We need to hook up as well, because I love shirts and t-shirts as well. But that's
hey,
great.
This is the only hip hop logo with an artichoke on it.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
And an artichoke, though. Why that vegetable?
Back.
Why that particular vegetable?
Keith, you really went for it, right? You went for the artichoke. Yeah,
all the way in, man. All the way in.
Okay.
There's a lot of symbolic meaning in here. So you see the artichoke, but also behind it is a lotus flower.
Got it.
Well, you got the infinity symbol right here, right? Yeah. And then you got the 1 and the 0 for the 10. Right? And then you got the Black Panther fist.
Yes.
The mic.
Got the mic.
And everything all over this sucker. So come on, get your shirts.
Oh, I will. Yeah, definitely. We're gonna do that.
Definitely. Right. Oh, yeah. Thank you. So we know, Keith, that you, like you said, you had an event at the White House. I want to say it's with the Obama administration, not with the current administration, right? Okay.
Obama for real. Yep.
Real president. So of all the accolades or the awards that you have, can you tell us which one you regard as your highest honor?
What I just told you. The people that I come and I serve, that they tell me that they went vegan or their lives have been changed, that's what I do it for. I don't really do it for any awards that you would get, personal things like that. I started out wanting to get rid of diabetes, cancer, heart attack, stroke, all these things in our community that we're still working on. To get rid of on our communities. And we started, Naja and Greg and many other people in this green age of hip hop, which we call it, right? We started a long time ago in this. We started when there was hardly anybody involved in this movement and built it up into a whole movement now. So we're seeing, the things that are happening and the growth in this space. So, pretty soon it's going to be everywhere. I have a small chapter in Europe right now. I'm moving internationally. So it's going to be worldwide soon.
Okay.
You can I just say something about our awards? When someone says we got the top vegan seafood in the country, like a pita, that's accolades for us, because that's just saying you can do vegan and vegan tastes good.
Yeah,
that's right. The vegan crab cake in Baltimore, right? Show them how it's done.
Yeah,
Y'all better go get that.
I'm hungry right now. Thank you very much.
I know, right?
We'll take that award.
I love it. Yeah, sometimes just the people is what gives you your passion and your drive. So
absolutely,
that's awesome. Mm-hmm.
So we talked about the pandemic, the impact it's had on many events. But could talk to you. You all do community outreach. What has the pandemic, or how has the pandemic impacted your community outreach efforts?
No vegan soul fest. No comment.
So shame.
No vegan soul fest. That's how it is. You can't do vegan soul fest virtually. I'm sorry.
Right.
About the food, you have to come out and you have to taste the food. It's about community. It's about food. We got presentations and music and things like that. We just couldn't do it virtually this year, and I don't know what's going to happen next year. But it's just not a virtual event. You got to be there to experience it.
But I think
Greg, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I think we've all had to make shifts in terms of how we connect to the community, so Naja's been doing her broadcasts and her building up her YouTube network, and, you got to shift, and, mine is just being, in front of customers, and just seeing them and having conversations as they come through the store 6 feet away or whatever, or outside the store. But it just changes the dynamic on how you get in touch with people, so hopping on a Zoom call, whereas you would maybe go to an event, maybe you just got to be on a call and people can see you. Or like my brother runs a entrepreneurship program, and he's working with a local school. So that gave me the opportunity to speak to some kids, not just about entrepreneurship, but about being vegan as well. But that is an opportunity to do vegan outreach, and the children, they like that stuff. They want to hear alternate success stories. They want to see people, that they want to know that you can do it out of nothing. That's always my thing, and I think that's a big thing for hip hop, is to create out of nothing. Make something out of nothing. Yep. So that's been big for us.
We were about to, right when the pandemic first started, we were about to, oh, there she is.
Hey.
We were about to produce the Hip Hop is Green Expo, the first expo here in Seattle. And so we had members of our team from around the country coming. And 2 days, I think it was 3 days before the event, we had to cancel everything.
Right. So because we were on our way out there.
Yeah, that would have been our first time out to Seattle. I was waiting.
But I promise you, we're gonna do it again, and we're to do it. But that's how we started the pandemic off. Really, just canceling this big event that we had been planning on, and then, we in Seattle, since it kind of broke out here first, right? It was real serious. I mean, we were like in quarantine for a while. There was nobody on the streets. It was like nothing here. And so that gave me time to just sit back and for the first time in a long time, and just mellow out and meditate a little bit. Like, okay, well, how are we going to actually do live events? Or how is Hip Hop is Green going to adapt to this pandemic? And then our chef here, Chef Ariel, shout out to Chef Ariel. She went out there and started serving plant-based food to the community, people who needed food. And so I joined her in doing that. And so we started a partnership between her organization, Plant-Based Food Share, and Hip Hop is Green. And we've been serving meals to the community, food boxes from local farmers and stuff, for months now. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people we've served food to. Matter of fact, we just got to giving out $76,000 worth of coupon vouchers to people to go to the store to get food, $100 vouchers.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That
That's
is.
wonderful. Wow, it's paying
Truly.
it forward.
Yep.
So before we go to our next question, so Greg, you did mention Nija's podcast. I'm sorry, it's on YouTube. So it's called Nija Speaks.
Awesome.
And it is on YouTube, and it's Nija Speaks. So if anybody is interested,
Check it out.
check it out, because I think she's got a lot of great things to tell us. So
it sounds like the pandemic has not stopped the outreach. So, respect to you all for continuing to push forward. Like you said, because the need is still there. So I told you, wonderful people. That's fine.
I love it. I love it.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't
No doubt.
stop.
No
That's right.
doubt.
So
I actually had the opportunity to interview Dr. Nolan, who is the author of the Hip Hop Vegan.
Yeah.
A very good book.
Okay.
The Hip Hop Vegan. So that's one for recommended reading.
I'm gonna put that on my list.
That's right. We always have a list of things that we learn from our guests.
That's
so this
right.
question is for Greg and Nija. So my husband and I, well, mainly my husband runs it. We have a small restaurant, so I know what it's like to work with your spouse, right, and with your significant other sometimes. So, what are the pros and cons of working together as a couple?
The pros and cons is
Put the glasses on.
We took our glasses.
We just had a pro and con this morning, okay? No.
I mean the pro is that you got somebody working with you that understands and gets it,
Right.
and that they are engaged, and they are, they're totally engaged in it, whether you want the feedback or not. You're gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? But you need that, but I think we all need that. You need somebody, right at your side that can challenge you.
Right.
I don't know if it's necessarily a con. It's not really a con. Not for us anyway. I don't think so, because our relationship was built on us working together. We met at the job, and we always worked on projects together. Or even when Naja was going to grad school, she would be at my house, doing her work for grad school while I was writing the business plan for the Land of Kush. So our relationship has always been shared workspace.
Love it.
And so, I don't know if it's a con in the sense that, you get direct feedback, and you just you get an immediate feedback. You can't, what I'm saying? But
He's married, he knows.
Lewis is very aware.
You know what I'm saying? It's a part of it though, but it's better to have somebody who is in your corner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know, okay, we may argue about stuff, we may disagree with stuff, but at the end of the day, it's better to have somebody that's in your corner giving you that feedback, whereas opposed, you going out here trying to find that feedback from somebody else. And when I look at other restaurants and see how they struggle to do certain things that Naja does, I'm like, yeah, okay, it works.
Right. I'm not in the business to fail, and failing is learning. But if you're going to go into business, you want to go into business and you want to make an impact. Yeah, right. If you're for profit, you want to make money, but you also want to make an impact. Right. I'm about good energy, circulating energy, customer experience, quality, all of that stuff. And running a restaurant is not the easiest business. Like people getting into this thinking like, oh, well, they are doing it, I could do it. Let me tell you something. It is no joke. Okay.
24-hour job.
We live above the restaurant. Like that's serious business. Like we're like right there in the business, and it's a lot. And then you're in a community, that there's just a lot of things going on. And then we're bringing in the community, hiring them. So you got to manage people and develop people. This is a whole package. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So I left corporate. I left corporate to help Greg.
She left corporate for you, Greg. She left corporate.
Yeah, I left corporate to help Greg. And we're going to be celebrating 10 years Wednesday of next week. So we're doing something right.
Oh, excellent. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good.
I love that.
She left corporate because she thought I was having too much fun.
I left corporate because he was like, he needed help. Every time I came in, I was like, I think he needs some help. Every day I came in, I'm like, I think he needs some help.
And I did.
I'm about to say, and it has paid off. I can attest to that.
Yes,
Definitely. So
yeah,
it's a
I
positive.
can't be with someone where I'm not invested in what they're doing. You know, I know there's some relationships that can do that. I can't be in a relationship and not be invested in what my spouse is doing, and vice versa. I mean, that's just how you both grow.
Right. That's beautiful. I love it. And yes, congratulations, as we say right here. And it's not easy. And running a restaurant is not easy. You know, people think it's this glamorous life. It is not glamorous. Oh my gosh. There's nothing glamorous about it. So my favorite comment when I go to the restaurant is people ask me if I pay for my food. I tell them, listen, I don't need to pay because the money going to be recycled back in my pocket. So no worries about that, right?
Right. No worries.
So unfortunately, I think we're going to have to try to get Keith back.
Yeah, we're trying to work Keith back in there. So when he joins, I'll keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, that'd be good. So we're having a great time. Like I told Doug before, like I was psyched about the show like 2 weeks in when he told me about it. And I'm so happy that you guys are on with us. So, you know, we'd like to end off our show with some fun questions. So we will ask you, my baby, as I said.
And Keith's right. He's back right on time.
Right.
Hey,
there you go.
Computer just died.
Oh, that's all right. It happens. Yep. So the question for you three is, of course, which artist would you have perform your album about your life and why? And what would the album title be? And the artist could be alive or dead. It could be fictional. We don't know, right? So give us something.
Greg and Naz, you guys go ahead.
I'm going to go first because y'all the hip hop heads, even though I'm from the Bronx. I'm going to say TLC, and the album will be called Circle of Influence.
Oh, I like that. Why TLC though? I love TLC.
Because growing up, TLC like just so much represented me. You know, I was a tomboy, so growing up, and it's just, you know, all crazy, sexy, cool, and the silliness, and you know, sometimes they were serious, sometimes they were silly. Like that's just all. That's me.
It was 100%. Good female empowerment energy as well, too. Yeah,
absolutely.
Love it.
I just love them. Yeah.
Oh man, for me, dag. I mean, I'm thinking several artists. This was a tough question, but I'm gonna go a little bit.
It was.
I know, right? I'm gonna go a little bit off key. I'm gonna say I would have Murs do a story, an album about my life. Okay. If y'all not, I mean, you know, for those that are familiar with Murs, the reason why is because Murs he's a storyteller. He's a great baseline, really good storyteller, and I think, you know, and he tells a very like common people's story, and so and you know what, that would be dope though. And then the title I think would be something out of nothing, you know.
I like that.
Nothing, you know. Yeah, I'm heavy in the Murs right now. I know Naja doesn't even know who he is, but I'm gonna get ready.
I have no idea who he talks about.
I know of him, Greg. I admit, but you put me on. I'm at to dig deeper with Murs. I'm at to get a little deeper into his work, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, because he's done about 4 or 5 albums with Ninth Wonder, and
I knew about him in Ninth. Yep.
Yeah, they've done a couple of projects together, so you know, Murs always got something to say. So cool. I like his storytelling.
Something from nothing. That's good.
That is.
Yeah. Keith, what you got?
I thought about this for a while, and I had so many names, man. Come on now.
It was tough.
Yeah, it was really tough.
Keith, what you got?
But I got one.
Okay.
Busta Rhymes got to do my story.
Okay.
Busta Rhymes got to do my story. I like the energy that Busta brings when he comes. Every time he comes hard. Nobody could get with him lyrically. He's up there with the legends.
Okay.
He's lasted long.
Yes.
And you know, I just love his energy. You know what I mean? So Busta Rhymes could do my thing.
What's the album title?
Be Positive.
Okay.
And that's letter B with a plus.
Oh, okay.
Be positive.
Wow. I can see it now, boy.
Busta Rhymes, be positive. Oh, come on.
I love this part of the
all about Keith Tucker. Come on, stop playing.
Love this part of the show where we get our guests to really think outside of the box, right? You know, you got to sit there and conceptualize it. It's very cerebral. I love it.
Very right. Brings it all home. Right. Now for our next one, and you all see this is what happens. You had these top-notch guests, right? So this is the first time we ever had folks had a preview of the 4x4 challenge. We try to sneak up on people with the 4x4 challenge. But I see we got 3 guests, right? Mm-hmm. We got four pillars. Y'all can attack it however you want. If each wants to go with their own 4, if y'all want to team up on it. Mm-hmm. But we got those 4 pillars: the graffiti art, the DJing, the breaking, and the MCing. So you've named a few artists already, but y'all take it apart however you want to do it.
I'm gonna do MC, and I'm gonna say MC Light.
Yeah,
love MC Light. Love MC Light.
Waiting for somebody to bring his sister on. Thank you.
That's what's
about time.
Yeah.
Oh man.
First of all, I'm that right here.
There it is.
I'm representing.
Look at Keith. Keith ain't playing. Hey, Keith, I tried to get some of those the other day. I do have a couple sheets, but they're sold out.
I used 2 of them, and that's probably it. I'm not using no more.
I got a sheet I saved, and I got a sheet that I'd used a couple off of. So, yes.
So they need to have a 10th element one here. That'll be happening one day soon. 10th element.
I'll sign on to that.
So I'm talking about graffiti art, and it's a guy by the name of Justin Bua. Who is one of the top graffiti artists in the world. He started from nothing in the South Bronx. He teaches at Stanford University. He created the first artwork in hip hop. The DJ, his photo is amazing. It sells everywhere.
Okay.
So Justin Bua, shout out Justin. He did my 10th element of hip hop logo, actually, by the way. So shout out to Justin Bua.
All right, okay. Justin, you got a shout out. So we have what we did MC and we did graffiti artist. Now we need DJ and B-boy. That leaves Greg.
Okay. All right. So dag. DJ. Okay, so DJ, definitely Primo.
Yes, sir.
Premier is my favorite. I was just running through a bunch of Gangstar stuff over the last week anyway. Woo. So Premier, as far as the DJ, I mean graffiti art, I can't go without shouting out either my man Doc Tunes and my guy Obscene Question. So both of those cats are like really talented artists. Obscene Question is from Jersey. He's now in Atlanta, but Doc Tunes actually did a mural in the store. When you first come in the store, you see a mural on the back wall, big mural, and he took ground coffee and made black paint out of it. He didn't have any black paint, and I had packets of ground coffee. And he took that and made black paint out of it. So when you see this mural, when you first come in the store, straight to the back, you'll see black. Wherever you see black, you'll see he used ground coffee to make this black paint. So I can't go out without Doc Tunes and Obscene Question, 2 of my favorite artists. So yeah, Primo for the DJ, MC and KRS. KRS just released this Black song, and the video is just super extra strong. And then as far as b-boying, you got to go Rock Steady, so the Rock Steady crew, you know what I'm saying? So I had my time doing my break dancing, but definitely Rock Steady. I need to refresh on my beat street. So
what? So rest in peace to Shabba-Doo, who just passed away.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Godfather of street dance just passed away. So rest in peace.
Rest in peace, right? So they're officially members of the remember we got those 4x4 All-Stars.
Yeah, we do.
We definitely got 3 more members to add in there. So we do our 4x4 All-Stars. We're gonna definitely have to invite y'all back. Greg, I like how you threw yourself in for the B-boy, because we do get some of that too. So people say my favorite is me. So I love it. But you the Rocksteady classic.
Yes.
Right. So good stuff. Shabba-Doo. I remember being, the movie, right?
Breaking, man.
Turbo gets a lot of love. I'm glad Shabba-Doo got some love on this too. Now we got around.
So we want to just close out with everybody in our audience watching hip hop, health inside people, health outside people. I love that a lot. hiphopisgreen.com, landofkush.com. I'm definitely going to be visiting y'all soon.
Gotta get there.
I'm hungry now, but I need to come.
Yeah, I gotta get back. It's been like a few weeks since it's time for me to return. So
And
Oh.
and Naja Speaks on YouTube. Listen to the sister. She's got a lot to say. We can't thank you all enough. I've been honored. I've been blessed. I got to be honest. My day I was in a funk, but now I have all this energy coming into me. I'm going to sleep a very happy person, and I'm so happy and honored that I met all of you. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you all greatly. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Peace.
Good night.
Good night. I love it. That's honestly.
That's how you punctuate the year. That's how you end the year on a high note.
That's right. That's
good
right.
energy, good people.
You, Douglas.
That's what we do for each other, Bear, right? Like, so yeah, these are the wonderful folks. Yeah, we gotta, and Takwa trying to get the Land of Kush.
She is, right? So maybe I can, go there and hang out.
Make a beeline. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So our next episode will be on January 13th when we introduce the first theme for 2021, which is self-care and self-empowerment. And that's what we want to focus on, hit off the new year. So happy new year to everyone.
Happy new year, everyone.
Holidays, yes. And hopefully, 2021 will be a better one for everybody.
Yep, definitely. And I know we got Corey Carter taking us out, right? As usual. There you go. Yep. So thank you for the beats, the soundtrack. All right. Bear, thank you. It's been a wonderful year. Looking forward to 2021 and more fantastic things to come. So
absolutely. Partners in crime, Douglas.
Partners in crime.
All right, let's see. We got one comment coming up, and peace and blessings to you, Lewis. Thank you very much.
That's my guy, Lewis. And I think, we don't want to spoil too much. I think we might even have Lewis on in 2021. There's been some negotiations.
Let's do it.
He's got a lot. He brings a lot to the table. We'll just put it that way. Right.
Let's do it. All game. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
All right. You too. There's Kids First Initiative. Look at them circling back. Thank you. Thank you. Kids First.
Love it.
Right. Happy holidays. Take care, Bear. We'll talk soon.
All right.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.